My beloved brothers and sisters, sometimes you are not struggling because you're unqualified or because you're not hardworking. You're struggling because the doors of your rizq haven't opened yet. And there is a powerful forgotten act, a simple dhikr that can soften hearts, bring ease in interviews, change the mind of a manager, and lift you from a silent place into a position you've been praying for. If you want a job, a promotion, a breakthrough, listen carefully, because this might be the reminder you needed today. The doors of rizq that stay closed until your heart learns where to knock. My beloved brothers and sisters, there comes a time in almost every person's life where they feel stuck in the same place for far too long. You wake up each day with the same hope. Maybe today something will change. Maybe today a new opportunity will come. Maybe today someone will finally recognize my hard work. But then the day ends and nothing shifts. You open your email and see no replies. You walk into your workplace and feel invisible, or you go to interviews and return home disappointed again and again. It becomes exhausting, not just physically but emotionally, because you begin to wonder if you're doing something wrong, or worse, if you're simply not good enough. But the truth, dear listener, is far more beautiful and far more comforting than you imagine. Sometimes the delay in your rizq has nothing to do with your skill, your talent, your education, or your effort. Sometimes the delay is a divine mercy in disguise, a hidden protection wrapped inside what feels like rejection. The Almighty doesn't close a door except that He is preparing something better behind it. And the job you think you desperately want today might be the job that would burn your peace, harm your faith, or drain your spirit tomorrow. So instead of opening that door for you immediately, He closes it gently, allowing you time to grow into the person who will deserve something far greater. This is why some doors of rizq remain shut until your heart learns where to knock. Not every opportunity is unlocked by resumes, qualifications and applications. Some doors open only through sincerity, remembrance, and a heart that turns back with humility. When you begin to realize that sustenance isn't controlled by people but by the one who created people, something inside you changes. Your anxiety softens, your fear fades, and your desperation turns into a calm trust that the Almighty will never forget you. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught us that hearts are between the fingers of the Most Merciful, meaning He is the one who can turn a manager's heart toward you, guide an employer to choose you, or place your name in the mind of someone who has never even met you yet. And when the one who controls hearts chooses to lift you, no human being can hold you down. This is why the dhikr in this reminder is not merely words. It is a key to a locked door, a gentle knock on the gate of opportunities that are waiting for you. When you recite it with sincerity, you are not just asking for a job, you are aligning your heart with the source of all jobs, promotions, careers, and success. And once your heart is aligned, every locked door begins to soften, every delayed opportunity begins to move, and every rejection begins to make sense. This is the beginning of your breakthrough. The moment your heart shifts from fear to faith, from pressure to peace, from confusion to clarity. And once you reach this point, your rizq begins to move toward you in ways you never saw coming. Why? Some people rise effortlessly while you keep struggling. My beloved brothers and sisters, you have probably wondered at some point in your life why certain people who seem less skilled, less dedicated, or even less deserving than you somehow rise effortlessly. You watch as someone with half your qualifications gets the promotion you prayed for, while another person with minimal effort receives a job offer you've been pursuing for months. You see people moving ahead of you, passing you, climbing ladders you have been standing beneath for years, and deep down you whisper to yourself, why not me? What am I doing wrong? What am I missing? But here is the hidden truth that most people never realize. Not every rise you see is a result of talent. Not every promotion is earned through effort. Not every opportunity is unlocked through hard work alone. Sometimes people rise because their hearts are connected to the one who lifts. Sometimes they receive promotions because their tongues are constantly in remembrance and their souls walk with a light that makes people feel at ease in their presence. Sometimes their success is not a reflection of their skill, but a reflection of their sincerity. The Almighty does not give based on the loudness of your ambition. He gives based on the softness of your heart. He does not elevate you because you push your way to the top. He elevates you when you humble yourself enough to recognize who truly holds every key, every door, and every opportunity. This is why some people rise faster, their hearts are anchored, their trust is steady, their dua is sincere, and their remembrance is constant. And here is another truth that will ease your heart. Sometimes the fate of your rizq is waiting behind a divine test that only you must pass. You may not see the wisdom behind the long waiting, but the Almighty does. He knows the level of strength you will gain through patience, the depth of gratitude you will develop through delay, and the clarity you will discover about yourself and your purpose. Had every door opened instantly, you would have never learnt what you are capable of. You would have never grown into the person who can handle the very blessing you are asking for. But there's something even deeper than this. Rizq gravitates toward those whose hearts are illuminated with remembrance. When you engage in a consistent dhikr, especially the one mentioned in this reminder, you are not simply chanting words, you are polishing your heart until it glows with sincerity. And a heart that glows attracts ease, attracts acceptance, attracts barakah, and attracts opportunities that were previously hidden from you. Think of it like this. When a manager looks at your application, when a supervisor considers your promotion, or when an employer scans your resume, you are not the only one being seen. Your intention is being seen. Your sincerity is being felt, and your reliance on the Almighty creates a presence around you that cannot be ignored. People may not understand why they feel drawn to you, why they feel comfortable with you, or why they choose you over someone more experienced, but the unseen world knows. Angels witness your dhikr. Your heart carries a light that others cannot explain, and that light opens doors that qualifications alone cannot. This is why some people rise effortlessly, because the Almighty Himself carries them, pushes them forward, protects them from hidden jealousy, clears paths they don't see, and places their names in the hearts of people who have the power to change their lives. And if you truly want to rise too, then begin strengthening your connection through remembrance, humility, and trust. For these are the ingredients that transform ordinary people into extraordinary stories. When you recite the blessed name with sincerity, you are not just reciting, you are stepping into a level of spiritual confidence that shifts everything around you. And from that moment onward, your journey toward a job, a promotion, or a breakthrough will no longer be driven by desperation. It will be driven by divine alignment. The name that softens hearts, opens paths, and places honor in your life. My beloved brothers and sisters, there are moments in your life when you try everything you can from the outside, improving your resume, enhancing your skills, networking, applying, reapplying, and waiting, yet nothing changes. And while these external efforts are important, they do not unlock every door. The truth you must understand is that some doors open only from the inside, only through a transformation of the heart, only through a connection that is deeper than effort, deeper than strategy, and deeper than ambition. There is a divine name, powerful, uplifting, filled with dignity and nobility that carries a special effect on the hearts of people around you. It is a name that invites respect, inspires trust, places calmness within your chest, and puts a gentle yet unmistakable weight in your presence. This is the name people used when they sought honor, acceptance, and clarity. This is the name the righteous used when they were lost in confusion, anxious about their next step, unsure about their livelihood, or afraid of stagnation. And when they turned to it with sincerity, the world around them began to shift in ways that words cannot fully describe. When you recite this name 71 times with intention, you are not simply repeating a phrase, you are aligning yourself with a spiritual frequency that changes the energy within you and the environment around you. Your aura becomes calmer, your voice becomes gentler, your eyes reflect more confidence, your heart becomes more stable, and people, whether they know you or not, feel that change. They may not understand it, but they sense a presence around you that makes them trust you, respect you, and feel safe in your company. This is why those who engage in this dhikr begin to notice subtle shifts long before the big transformations arrive. You may find that conversations go smoother, your ideas are received better, your colleagues begin to acknowledge your value, and the tension you once carried around interviews begins to dissolve. This blessed name creates a serenity that makes you stand out without trying, makes you memorable without speaking loudly, and makes others feel drawn to you even when you aren't seeking attention. There is something special about the spiritual glow that surrounds a person who recites this name consistently. It is not a physical glow, it is a glow of character, a glow of calmness, a glow of inner strength that cannot be faked or manufactured. It is a glow that whispers to the hearts of others, this person is sincere, this person is trustworthy, this person is guided. And when people feel that from you, promotions begin to align, opportunities begin to flow, and your reputation begins to rise without you forcing anything. But the real magic, the true beauty of this dhikr is not just in how it changes the way people perceive you. It is in how it changes the way you perceive yourself. Suddenly, you walk with more purpose, speak with more clarity, and carry yourself with a quiet dignity that even you didn't know you had. Your fear of failure begins to fade. Your anxiety about interviews begins to soften, and your heart becomes more certain that the Almighty will never abandon you. There is a moment, and you will feel it if you remain consistent, where the dhikr transforms from a recitation into a deep-rooted certainty inside your soul. In that moment, you no longer beg for opportunities, you begin to attract them. You no longer chase approval, you begin to earn it effortlessly. You no longer fear rejection, you begin to understand that rejection is nothing more than divine redirection. This is the spiritual power behind this name. It is not magic. It is not superstition. It is the effect of remembrance on the heart and the effect of a purified heart on the world around you. When your heart is connected, your path becomes smoother. When your intention is sincere, your journey becomes lighter. And when your tongue engages in the remembrance of the Almighty, your rizq begins to move toward you even when you feel unprepared. How this dhikr quietly reshapes your career. My beloved brothers and sisters, when a person begins a dhikr with sincerity, they often expect something dramatic, a sudden phone call, an instant offer, an unexpected message. But the most beautiful transformations of this dhikr are the ones that begin quietly, long before the promotion arrives, long before the job offer appears, and long before your life visibly changes. These transformations begin inside the heart, in places no one else sees but everyone eventually feels. The first change you notice is a subtle shift in your confidence. Before, you may have walked into interviews with fear, your voice trembling, your mind scattered, and your presence uncertain. But once you begin reciting this blessed name with intention, something softens within you. You start carrying yourself with a calm assurance, a quiet dignity that doesn't come from ego but from trust. You no longer feel desperate for people to choose you, because your heart knows that the one who controls every opportunity is already guiding your path. Your conversations begin to flow more naturally. Your thoughts become clearer. Your anxiety that once controlled you starts to lose its power. Even before your external life changes, your internal world begins to bloom, and this inner bloom becomes the soil where your rizq grows. Then something incredible happens. People begin responding to you differently. Colleagues who barely noticed your efforts start acknowledging your presence. Supervisors who once overlooked your contributions begin to value your ideas. Managers who previously saw you as ordinary start seeing you as someone capable, reliable, trustworthy, and deserving of more responsibility. It's not because you suddenly became more skilled, but because your heart became more steady, your character became more refined, and your energy became more peaceful. Remember, dear listener, people are naturally drawn to those who carry inner calm. When you recite this name, you are polishing your heart until your presence radiates a serenity that others cannot ignore. You're not just preparing for a promotion, you're becoming someone who looks like they belong in a higher position, someone whose character reflects readiness, someone whose energy signals maturity. And then comes another layer of change, one that is rarely spoken about but deeply powerful: clarity. Before this dhikr, your mind may have been clouded with confusion, not knowing which job to pursue, which career direction to take, which skills to develop, or which opportunity is actually good for your heart and your future. But the more you recite this name, the more your vision begins to clear. Decisions that once felt heavy begin to feel obvious. Options that once confused you begin to separate into what is good for you and what is harmful. You no longer chase every job blindly. You begin to recognize which opportunities are aligned with your purpose. This clarity is a gift. It prevents you from running after the wrong position, settling for the wrong environment, or entering a place that will drain your peace. The Almighty does not only open doors through this dhikr, He protects you from entering doors that were never meant for you. And slowly, another shift occurs. You begin attracting opportunities without even realizing it. People recommend you for roles you didn't apply for. Someone mentions your name in meetings you weren't present in. A manager you barely interacted with begins to consider you for a project that can change your career. These are not coincidences. This is the ripple effect of remembrance, the quiet, unseen rearranging of your path by the one who hears every recitation, every whisper, every hope. And then, at the perfect moment, not too early, not too late, the breakthrough arrives. A job offer that matches your skill and your peace, a promotion that honors your effort and your patience, an opportunity that feels like it was created specifically for you. And when it comes, you will feel something powerful inside your heart, a realization that every delay, every setback, every rejection, every tear-filled night, it all led you here. This is how the dhikr transforms your life, not by forcing change, but by preparing your heart for it, not by rushing destiny, but by aligning your soul with it. So, not by begging for opportunities, but by becoming someone who naturally attracts them. The right way to recite this dhikr, so your job, promotion, and rizq begin to move toward you. My beloved brothers and sisters, many people rush into dhikr the same way they rush into life, quickly, distracted, and without presence. But this blessed name, the one that carries honor, dignity, and the unlocking of rizq, must be recited not with your tongue alone, but with your entire being. The power of this dhikr lies not in the number, but in the sincerity behind it, not in the sound, but in the heart that whispers it, not in the repetition, but in the stillness it creates inside your soul. To begin this practice properly, find a moment where the world becomes quiet after Fajr, when the day is still awakening, or before sleeping, when the heart is tired and softened by the weight of the day. Sit with intention, don't rush. Let your body settle, let your breathing slow. Let your heart acknowledge that what you're about to do is not a ritual, but a conversation with the one who writes destinies with precision and mercy. Close your eyes for a brief moment. Feel the pressure you've been carrying, the stress of interviews, the fear of rejection, the frustration of being overlooked, the heaviness of financial uncertainty. Don't run from these feelings. Allow them to rise to the surface, because sincerity begins when the heart becomes honest. The Almighty already knows what you feel, but the healing begins when you acknowledge it in His presence. Then begin reciting the blessed name slowly with deep breath 71 times. Do not rush through the words. Let each recitation melt into the next. Let the vibration of your voice settle into your chest. Let every repetition dissolve a layer of fear, a layer of doubt, a layer of insecurity. You are not just calling upon the one who grants jobs and promotions. You are calling upon the one who grants peace, clarity, and strength. With every repetition, imagine that a heavy door in your life is softening. Imagine the stress in your heart loosening. Imagine the barriers in your career gently shifting. You may not see the changes, but your soul can feel them. This dhikr is not simply a request. It is like polishing a mirror that has been fogged by disappointment, comparison, and fear. The clearer your heart becomes, the more confidently you can walk into the world, and the more naturally opportunities begin to find their way toward you. After completing the 71 recitations, don't rush to stand up or check your phone. Sit for a moment in silence. This moment of silence is where your dua comes from, the deepest part of your soul, a dua not formed by desperation, but by trust. Speak to the Almighty with honesty. Tell Him what job you desire. Tell Him why you want it. Tell Him what scares you. Tell Him how tired you feel. Tell Him that you trust His timing more than your own. And then ask with humility, ask with sincerity. Ask with the certainty that the one you are calling upon hears even the whispers you don't say out loud. This moment, the moment right after dhikr, is when the heart is most open and the soul is most receptive. Your dua in this moment carries a weight that everyday words cannot. When you rise from this moment, rise with a heart that feels lighter, even if your circumstances haven't changed yet. This is the beginning. This is where the spiritual world starts moving in your favor. Angels witness your sincerity. Your heart begins to radiate calmness. Your path begins to shift in ways unseen. And then, my brothers and sisters, remain consistent. Do not recite this name once and expect the world to transform overnight. Rizq opens through patience. Blessings descend through consistency. And hearts soften through repetition. Make this dhikr a daily ritual, a quiet refuge, a shelter from the storms of uncertainty. With each passing day, your inner strength grows, your clarity sharpens, your trust deepens. And without you realizing it, you become a person who walks into interviews with serenity, into meetings with calmness, and into opportunities with confidence. This is the beautiful transformation that sincerity brings, the transformation the world sees, even when you don't notice it yourself. This is how you recite this dhikr, not as a task to complete, but as a bridge between you and the Almighty, as a moment of grounding, and as a reminder that your rizq is never far when your heart is near to the one who provides. The hidden signs that your rizq, job, or promotion is already moving toward you. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the most beautiful and comforting truths about the Almighty is that He begins opening doors for you long before you ever see them open. The changes start quietly, invisibly, subtly, like the first breeze before rainfall, like the first light before sunrise. And when you begin reciting this blessed name with sincerity, there are signs that a shift has already begun, even if your circumstances still look the same on the outside. The first sign is a growing sense of inner calm. Before, you may have felt restless, uncertain, anxious, or overwhelmed by fear of the future. But suddenly, without any clear reason, you begin feeling more grounded. Your heart feels lighter, not because your situation changed, but because you changed. This calmness is not random. It is a sign that your heart is being spiritually strengthened to carry the blessing that is on its way. The second sign is a shift in your intuition and clarity. Before, you may have felt lost, confused about your next step, unsure about which job to apply for, or whether you should stay or move on. But once the dhikr begins working inside you, your inner compass becomes sharper. Certain opportunities will start attracting you more deeply, while others will suddenly feel wrong or heavy. This clarity is not guesswork, it is guidance. It is the gentle steering of the Almighty directing you toward what is best for you. Another sign, and this one surprises many people, is the arrival of small, unexpected opportunities. Someone you haven't spoken to in years suddenly messages you about an opening. A co-worker casually mentions a position you didn't know existed. A hiring manager views your profile without you applying. These small incidents are not coincidences. They are the early footsteps of your rizq approaching you. There is also the sign of shifting relationships. People who once ignored your presence begin noticing your work. A supervisor who never listened to your ideas suddenly asks for your input. Someone who underestimated your potential begins respecting your contributions. The hearts around you begin softening without any effort from you, because the one who controls hearts is preparing them to see your worth. Sometimes the sign comes through rejection, and this is where many people misunderstand the process. A rejection that once would have broken you now feels strangely peaceful. You feel that something better is waiting, and you are no longer shaken by the no, because your heart quietly whispers, there is a greater yes coming. This emotional maturity is a sign that your soul is entering alignment with your destiny. And then there are physical signs as well. You may find your sleep improving, your stress decreasing, your energy rising, your focus returning. You may begin waking up with renewed hope even after months of discouragement. These are not psychological tricks. These are the effects of spiritual nourishment flowing through your heart. But perhaps the most powerful sign is this. You begin to feel watched over, protected, guided, taken care of. You start feeling that your life is not random, your struggle is not unnoticed, and your effort is not being wasted. You start sensing that every delay had purpose, every rejection had wisdom, every closed door was guarding you from what was never meant to be yours. And this feeling, this quiet, unshakable certainty is the greatest sign of all, because when the Almighty wants to change your life, He first changes your heart. And when He wants to elevate your rank, He first strengthens your inner world to carry that elevation with grace. So if you feel calmer, clearer, or more hopeful, if new opportunities begin appearing out of nowhere, if hearts around you begin softening, if your spirit begins healing even before the blessing arrives, then know, my beloved listener, that your rizq is already moving in your direction. Your job is already being written in your favor. Your promotion is already being aligned for you. And the moment you have been praying for may be closer than you think. My beloved brothers and sisters, if there is one truth you must hold on to after hearing this reminder, it is this. Your job, your promotion, your rizq, none of it is out of reach. Nothing is lost. Nothing is delayed without purpose. Nothing is denied without wisdom. The Almighty knows the weight you carry, the effort you've made, the nights you stayed awake worrying about your future, and the silent prayers you whispered when no one else saw your struggle. And He also knows the exact moment your life will change. The dhikr you heard today, it is not just a practice, it is a doorway. Every time you recite it, you are stepping closer to the destiny written for you. Every repetition is polishing your heart, strengthening your mind, and aligning your soul with opportunities that were created long before you even knew they existed. So do not lose hope. Do not give up. Do not allow the delays to convince you that nothing is happening. Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs grow in silence before they bloom in public. Sometimes the greatest blessings take shape behind the scenes while you think nothing is moving. And sometimes the Almighty withholds something now only to give you something far better later. Walk away from this reminder with trust. Walk with a heart that knows the one who listens to every dhikr will never abandon the one who remembers him. Walk with the certainty that as long as your effort continues and your heart stays sincere, your rizq will find its way to you in the most beautiful form at the most perfect time, and with a peace that fills your soul. May the Almighty open your doors, bless your effort, elevate your rank, and grant you a job or promotion that becomes a source of honor, ease, happiness, and endless barakah. Ameen, my brothers and sisters. Ameen.